And we are live on the last day of February 2025, and good riddance to February. The only thing good about February is that it's short because it's typically the coldest month of the year. But anyway, we had Lars in here really early, Unfinished Project, and Danny Boyd asking if the thumbnail was my next auction purchase. No, it is not. That is Roger Estep's truck in Bluefield. He has the Firestone place. And he collects old fire trucks, and I think it's cool. And I think he has the 1960 LaFrance. He may still have the 1960 LaFrance ladder truck that my father drove in the 60s and 70s. But I think it's indoors because I know he has some indoors and a few he leaves outside, including that a little bit later LaFrance in the picture. And Unfinished Project looked it up. It's ladder number 43, and it was at something in I don't know, in Pennsylvania or something. I don't know. He drives them around. I'll see him going up and down the avenue in those things. I saw him driving one today or yesterday. One on Cats is 203 days. Yes, 202 days, 3 hours, 58 minutes to be exact. Chris 103 Customs has put this in here a couple of times. He's doing an experiment. He's made a new channel, Cutter Down Garage 303, just looking to see if he can grow it a bit here and go live on it soon. He is one of our erstwhile No Name 500 participants. He's got a new channel, but one thing I will say, sir, you do realize if you go, if you stream through a service like StreamYard or one of those others that's extremely complicated but will work also, you don't have to do that. It's just when you stream directly through YouTube, you have a sub-minimum requirement. So just saying. And this is said channel, Cutter Down Garage 303. We have Colleen, a.k.a. Mama M to the third power there. 38 Racing says, happy Friday to everyone. And Tim Jacobson from Indecisive Garage up to 78 subs in the No Name 500. We have Scamp Man saying hello, everybody. I'm assuming that's Mohawk. Looks like his thumbnail. Although we have two guys that have scamps now. Buff Del Campo. Bad Tree Productions says they are listening in an HQ business meeting. The Sopranos have their card game, and Bad Tree has their business meetings. Totally understandable. Brazil Racing says another long week in the books. You aren't kidding. Wrong English. Turbo Tom 416. We've got LSS here. Connor. Dean Stevenson. 6th Street Garage. Halfwit Labs. Pure Pontiac Garage. Rob's Rods and Street Cars. LSS Drone Photography says it was a beautiful day in Virginia. Yeah, well, I spent most of the day in West Virginia, but indeed it was. We've got Brian Beeler. Not to be confused with Bueller. I think my screen just buffered, but I'm not sure. Halfwit Lab says, I love old fire trucks. Yeah, I thought that one was cool. I just saw it on the avenue about a week ago and thought, you know what, I'll stick a picture of that, and then I made a thumbnail out of it. Levi's Backyard Performance is here. NSB. Chris 103 Customs is back. Danny Boyd says, some of the Aherns lived on my street 100 years ago, as in Ahern's Fox. Okay. LSS Drone says, I went up to the recap shop in Bluefield and they gave me a tour. Turned out to be a good video. Are you talking about Bluefield Retread on Bland Street? Is that what you're talking about? Mean Street Mopar is here. Andrew Nilsson says, hello from the Nivlac 57 tribe. Hope you all are doing well. Halfwit Labs has me simul streaming with VGG. Okay. Levi says it's been 5 years in the making. Going to be another 5, especially with one income. Dude, you're in your early 20s. 5 years to you is a good deal. You got a lot more left on the roll than is already off of it. Evans Mopar Scott is here. Frank sold that, and Lusk Disposal bought it out. Took 200. You are, to be clear, you're talking about the Bland Street. My dad, when he was a fireman, he used to be at the Bland Street station. He was at the North Side one, and it's gone now. And I've never even saw it. I don't even know what it ever looked like. It was gone probably before I was born. Then the Bland Street one. And one night, this woman comes up, rings the doorbell of the firehouse, and just as calm as somebody would, say hello, she says, "You have a fire up the street." And Dad looked out there, and he said the Bluefield Retread Company had flames out the roof with all the tires in there on fire. And they scrambled. That's a cinder block building, but it did burn down once and has been rebuilt. And he helped put it out. He said that was the hottest fire he ever worked on. He said some of the trucks had paint damage. That fire was so hot. So there you go. There's an unsolicited story from before I was born. Yeah, it's cool. I was right down the street from you. I was on Princeton Avenue. We weren't a few blocks apart and didn't know it. Yeah, people always ask me, hot chocolate with melted marshmallows again. I always want to know what's in the red cup when I have it out. They never ask about the Dr. Pepper bottle. NSB says something's going to take some getting used to. I don't know what. Cutter Down Garage says one of the garbage trucks at work started flaming on routes. The crew drove to the firehouse. Well, I guess that works. I try to be conscientious of what I put out in residential trash. 38 says, why don't I use an insulated cup? I'm a minimalist, man. I was meeting with the building inspector, which is as much fun as going to the dentist or the DMV. Scantman says, hard to call myself Mohawk when I can't grow one anymore. But you're still Mohawk. No one's ever going to call you anything different. You know that, right? Levi says the Laguna needs transmission fluid and taken off the stands, and it's ready to test the new valve body. Then it's a top-end rebuild, and then it's totally ready. Right on. Sounds good. Top-end rebuild. What did you do to the top end? What needs to be done there? Another good thing about not using an insulated cup is I know from the cup if it's too hot to drink or not. The insulated cup, it can fool you. Because I like to get it hotter than it needs to be so it'll melt the marshmallows like it should. Scantman is Mohawk with it. I don't know. It's the first I've seen of it in here. Dean Stevenson says, I've decided not to pass on variable color pens. I cannot risk non-Princeton people having red pens. Princeton University or Princeton, West Virginia? Exactly. I was in Princeton, West Virginia today briefly. Kind of by accident because I meant to go on I-81 South to go there, and I just turned the wrong way on the bypass because my mind was somewhere else. I thought, well, shoot, I'm just kind of going the wrong way, so I'll go the other way through Blacksburg and Giles County and Princeton. I don't like going that way, but I'm like, I'll just do that instead of turning around. It's about 6-7 miles shorter, but it's a whole bunch of speed limit reductions and towns, and it's just annoying. It's an annoying drive. Lusk Disposal, yeah. There where the dump is. We've got Dust Devil Garage here. Levi says he's having the heads cleaned up. They have 260,000 miles on them, and I only used them so I could race last year. Okay. 260,000 miles. That's more than 100,000 less than the head on the CRV. Whatever whopping power number it makes. Evans Mopar says, my dad ran into a house engulfed in flames at night while my mom and I waited in the truck for him. Oh, gosh, we thought he was a goner. After a few minutes, he came out when the guy was sleeping. Wow, gosh. Oh, my gosh. They didn't seal very good, and I wonder why. What, the valve seals? Or the head's warped, or what? Surely you put a straight edge on them. West Virginia, oh, you mean not the real Princeton? Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure Princeton University's older. I'm not a fan of Princeton, West Virginia. Ironically, that's where I'm going to be buried, though. A town I really don't care a thing for. They have about 90 trucks. Yeah, I know it's a big operation. Dean says, listen to Olivia Newton-John's version of Country Road, ended up in the wrong correct chat room. No, I mean, John Denver's version's not that bad, but whatever. SSR says, what's going on tonight? You see it. And since I see Big James, he, of course, reminds me of the Edelbrock Incentives Program. I had one register today that is not yet on the spreadsheet, but the rest of you all should be, and that's over at Edelbrock. So I hope you're enjoying this wonderful perk that Edelbrock has given us. And this is for about 20,000 part numbers on their website at edelbrock.com. And so we're talking Edelbrock, Comp Cams, TCI, Russell, Fuel Air Spark Technologies. It's pretty cool, man. I believe Lunati. Anything that comes under those umbrellas. Danny Boyd says, I'd rather be in Princeton, West Virginia than Princeton, New Jersey. I would agree with that. If I had to choose that. Levi said it was 3 days before the race thing. Yeah, I understand. I don't even know what a Princeton haircut is, old McDonald. Halfwit said he upgraded some valve springs in a truck and cammed it. Okay, well, usually those two things go together. Wants to check it before power tour. Sounds prudent. Cutter Down Garage says, I need an intake. Hot Rod Guy Garage is 202 days and a few hours. Don't wait to the last minute on those projects. No, don't wait to the last minute on your projects. Don't wait to the last minute to register. SSR is going to get some intel well in advance. He's going to be at Skelton tomorrow to do some bracket racing and testing too. Cool. Danny Boyd's family's in Clarksburg, West Virginia. Yeah. Totally different part of the state, but yeah, my family is from the poorest part of the poorest state. Yeah, LSS drone photography, West Virginia Mountain Mama song about his drone videos. Yeah, I believe that's right. Those are not shorts you did of the road, wasn't it? Dust Devil asks, has anyone priced a 650 VRS with our deal? I don't want to bother them with just a price check. Brian, if you look at edelbrock.com, it's going to be 10 to 15% off of that. Should be. So that should give you an idea. LSS Drone self-promotion here. Come on, everybody. I'm only 152 subscribers away. Andrew Nelson says, can you briefly explain how to make sure folks can apply the No Name Nationals discount? So in the, I believe it's in my last live, I need to make it a part of the permanent video description. Alex So at Edelbrock, he's our concierge, and you need to be registered for the No Name Nationals. So you register. They are working on our own portal with login. That's in the works. But for right now, the way, because they've never done this with a group before. This has only been done with businesses. So the No Name Nationals is the business, and everybody can purchase who is a registered member. And so you have to be registered, and then you need to call or email Alex at Edelbrock, and his information's in one of those lives. I will grab that and put it up. And then you go to edelbrock.com for now, and any part number there, we're 10 to 15% off of what you see there. And as we buy collectively as a group, we have the opportunity to buy toward an even better price bracket. Scott, you got to be registered. Go over to edelbrock.com, and when you place your order, you're going to place it with Alex So at Edelbrock. And you know what I'll do? I'll do that right now because, unfortunately, I didn't think to make that a part of the permanent video description, as I should have done. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to do that right now. I'll run over here and get it, and I can post it. Let's see here. Hopefully, I think I posted it after the announcement. Let me see if it's there. I will get it. I need to do this. I need to make this a permanent thing. I don't know why I'm not finding it. It could have been a community post. Here it is. February 7th. So I'm going to post this. This is our concierge with Edelbrock. Must be registered. All right. What'd I miss? Halfwit says I got 120 more subs to go with 380 after the Jeep video last week. Cool. Clayton's Toolbox says, is there anyone that is a cam expert who can have a look at specs for the custom cam I ordered? I'm questioning if the cam is designed right. I would have asked the cam expert before I ordered the cam. But that said, a good person to ask would be Professor P or David Vizard. Those would be two people I'd ask. Andy Wood be a good person to ask. And the thing is it'd be really hard to know just from the specs if it's designed right. We'd have to know what your application is too. Give us a little rundown of that. Kind of curious now. Mean Street Mopar says, I'm only 217 away from 500. I hope I make it. No, there's no hope you make it this year. You're going to do it. Make that content and do it, man. Do it. You can totally do it. AHRA Guy Garage is No Name 500 contender and friend of mine. Cool. Posted up. I guess I did. But yeah, it's this is our concierge with Edelbrock, Alex So. He's the Edelbrock Group technical consultant. There's his phone number and email, and that's 8 to 5 Central Time, Monday through Friday. You need to be registered. Find your stuff on edelbrock.com. When we have our own portal, we will announce that and do a walkthrough on the channel. They ran into some challenges doing that because this will be the first time so many different users do it with different forms of payment and all that, and they want to keep that secure. Andrew Nelson says, will we be honored with a DV visit at No Name Nationals? I have no idea. I wouldn't put any money on it at this point. He's threatened to for a while, but he likes the idea, is excited. But I tell you, the idea of making that trip, you know, his health is always spotty and whatnot, but he wants to. I just think that the reality of a 600-mile trip is not easy. So my friend Billy asks, more hot chocolate tonight? There's Billy. Whatever you do, don't say he looks old, because he and I were in the same graduating class. Scott likes Scamp Man. He likes the name. I don't know. I would have a really hard time with that over Mohawk 62, but Mohawk accidentally sent me a young picture of him. You want me to put that up, Mohawk? Pardon me, Scamp Man. And yes, Billy, it was a tough call. It was a call between Diet Dr. Pepper and hot chocolate. I went with hot chocolate, but it's starting to get that season, so I'm not ever craving hot chocolate when it's, 70s and 80s outside, that's for sure. KJ Kylie's here. Stephen Holtz. Thanks for coming by, man. He says, got some work done today on the question mark car for this year's No Name Nationals, his mystery car. Okay, cool. I'll put it up on the screen. LS Estro's asking, do I know where the Riverbend Mall is in Covington? Have no idea. I go to Covington on the rarest of occasions. The last time I went, I was doing a mortgage inspection, and I stopped to get a turtle out of the road on the highway, as I always do, because I don't want them to get hit. It's like it's not even fair. So I'll stop to get a turtle, moved a turtle, all was good there. Got back in my truck, rolled up the shoulder, and got a piece of trash in my tire, got a flat tire. So while my tire is slowly going down, I rolled off the exit, found a place to get some air, put some air in it, changed it, put the spare on, crashed in the back of the truck, because by that time it was dark and I couldn't finish my run to get home, so I had to wait till I had daylight again, then went back. That was my last trip to Covington. Wasn't a fun visit per se. So here's a picture of Mohawk from 1982. You ready? He accidentally sent that today, but I'm like, oh, still a cool photo. Huh. What do I have for a contact picture for him? Picture of him with his scamp. Andrew Nelson says, DV has always been a personal auto hero for me. Would love to say thank you in person to him someday. Rattle his cage about coming to Sykeston. We'd love to make that happen. He's got to be healthy. Everything's got to work out. But, encourage him. Because I got to tell you, if enough of you guys say, hey, we want to see you in Sykeston, hey, we want to see you in Sykeston, it will be harder for him to not. Because he really does love to interact with all of you guys. Halfwit says, I dropped the new Morel 7717 lifters in with my cam swap, followed directions with rod length and preload, but it sounds a bit of sewing machiney after cam break in. Wondering about a slightly longer push rod. Well, do you have preload or not? DV is a really cool guy. He's a really cool guy. I love getting to hang out with him anytime I get to. You know, usually about, I would average maybe once a year, twice if I'm lucky. LS's drone's doing a photo shoot in Covington. That's cool. Is preload a bit of a range? Oh, yeah, on hydraulic lifters, yes. It is a range. The main thing with hydraulic lifters is that you have some. Danny Boyd says, don't mess with that guy. DV? No, don't mess with DV. DV is a very gracious in person. Yes, he is. Awesome guy. Yes, he is. Very, very smart. So much fun to talk with him. It's a good dude. Old McDonald says, same year I started my cable career. My dad started working for cable TV in 1984. So after the fire department had run its course, he did cable TV for many years. And he had a pole break on him one time and slid down it. Oh, my gosh. That was so bad. He had a buddy fall off a roof and die. And he's like, you know, enough of this. He moved into repossessing converter boxes when that was a thing. It wouldn't even be a thing today, but back then it was. He started all that stuff in 1984, which was funny because in 1984, when we didn't have anything, but we had cable TV, every channel in the world because he worked there. It was like the one luxury we had. We didn't have air conditioning or anything like that, but we had cable TV. Rust Before Holes, a new entrant into the No Name 500. Thanks for joining us tonight. I like the name. I get it. But check out his channel. He is running in the No Name 500. He's got a good ways to go, but I think that guy can definitely do it. Fab Race Monterey Pete is here. Hello, Chris from Northeast Dragway. Glad you could make it. Levi says DV at No Name would be awesome. Such a wealth of knowledge. If I could learn half of what he forgot, I consider that a win. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you guys just go over there. You know what? Everybody here, next time you see him live, whenever that is, y'all should just swarm live saying, hey, are you going to be at No Name Nationals? Hey, are you going to be at No Name Nationals? Don't mess with Mohawk circa 82. Don't mess with Mohawk circa anytime. Half-wit, don't get caught up in the turn method. It's dumb and doesn't work. Get the adjustable push rod checker and do it right. And a lot of guys like to do it with it running. I got just as many cable stories as I do cars. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. One day, Dad had he'd wear these collared shirts with his name on them. And he had a slit right across the front of the shirt. And that slit was from getting a knife swung at him, repossessing a converter in the hood one time in this apartment complex, and literally got a knife swung at him, and it got his shirt. Left a little red mark on him, cut across his shirt. Crazy over a converter box, but that was, you know, I don't know. The world was just different then. Yeah, Juania, Rust Before Holes. Mr. Rodder's Neighborhood, a.k.a. Dallas Brown, the president of the American Hot Rod Association. Halfwit Labs ordered his push rod length checker. Cool. You just ordered an adjustable push rod. A way to measure it. Danny Boyd says, I never watch TV nowadays. Yeah, TV's times are changing with TV. Streaming is taking over, and I knew it would a long time ago, but it's here now. Jethro's in there watching a movie. Yeah, Mom would always babysit Jethro, so I had to figure out something else now. So I have a ritual with him. I take him out at half hour before the live, make sure he's got food, turn his space heater on, turn the light off, leave the TV on for him. He takes a nap. And if I go long on the live, he comes in here and lets me know it. Levi tells Dallas he's doing better. Well, good. Hope you weren't doing bad. Scant Man just subbed to Rust Before Holes. Sounds like a place where you used to work. Mr. Rotter said, Levi, did your car lose any weight? Jethro sure is no camera hog. No, he isn't. Well, actually, I got a lot of pictures of him. People take pictures of him. He's real popular, but he doesn't like it in here because I got these bright lights in the studio. He just doesn't like any of this. Bright lights. I'm sitting at the computer, which he's better with this because I do it in the evening and all of that when he gets sleepy than when I'm working during the day. He gets testy after a couple hours. Levi's going to add weight so he can say the car weighs more. He's getting a passenger seat. Junkyard Delta. What's up, folks? It is very rare to get Jethro in here and on camera. It's happened maybe twice. Andrew Nelson says, Dallas, we need a drive-by. And by the way, Dallas, you missed it earlier. Scamp Man there is Mohawk 62. That's his new alias. One-Eyed Cat got busy over on Marketplace. I got to tell you, Marketplace has replaced the trade papers. I miss them. How many years young is Jethro? He will be 9. And we don't know when his birthday is, obviously, because he's a rescue. But we just celebrated July 4th, and so we estimate he'll be about 9 years old in July. That's when we celebrate him. Junkyard D says, Scant Man, you related to the guy from Seinfeld. What, Kramer? I know the episode you're talking about with the 73 Caprice and the license plate. And you can get a very high quality stamping of that license plate from Celebrity Machines. Halfwit says that the truck drives absolutely great. Just want to keep dialing it in. Loads more power. Cam spring lifters, rocker trunnion upgrade, new torque converter, re-geared rear end, vast improvement. Cool. What gear did you go to and what gear did you come from? Danny Boyd says, Marketplace is one of my 2 regrets over never joining Facebook. I have never joined Facebook. I have no regrets about it. Mr. Rotter says, drive-by. I have nothing to drive at the moment. Like your Suburban. Old McDonald says, I would rather have Al Bundy's Duster. Yeah. I think they used more than one Duster in that show. Can't remember at the moment. Unfinished Projects says, state championships tonight and tomorrow. Levi says Marketplace is aggravating. Halfwit says he went from a 342 to a 410. after upgrading from a 4L60 to a 4L80 transmission. Well, that's beef, but the overdrive's about the same on the transmissions, right? Of course, that also depends what tire height you run. If you run a 31-inch tall tire or more on that truck, that's going to be a really hot combo right there. Gas mileage sucks, but more pep. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Andrew says, Dallas, we are leaving the welcome mat out. The Nelsons are very welcoming people. Very, very nice folks. Even when no one's looking. Fabrace Mod repeats, says, season opening test and tune tomorrow at Northeast Dragway. 6th Street Garage says, I think Al Bundy had a Dodge Demon. He had a Duster. It was not a Demon. It was a Duster. If they ever used a Demon for any of those episodes, I didn't know it. I just remember he had a 73 or 4 Duster. But I was thinking it was more than one. Mr. Rodder says, that's called integrity. Yes, it is. Dean Stevenson suggests that Al Bundy had a continuity script error. Halfwit Lab says running about 2,600 at 70. I'd take that. Manny Boyd says, I can barely remember when the Duster and Demon came out. 1970 for the Duster, 70 model year. Demon 1 year behind it. And then in 73, for the 73 model year, the Religion Lobby hammered Chrysler into changing the name of the Demon to Dart Sport. Thumper says Tim Allen has a GTO. Okay. I can't even remember what that was he had on that show, Home Improvement. His Tim Taylor character had. I don't even remember. I thought it was cool to have a car guy character on a sitcom. I always thought that was neat. Respected that. Thumper says, hey, peoples. Yeah. Halfwit says stock tires right now, 31.5 because of winter. General around town driving. Okay. Stephen Hope says, I have a 73 Dart Sport H code, as do I. Mr. Rodder says 32 Ford. Okay, yeah. I don't remember what it was. It was some kind of AHRA. I don't remember. Ron G says Al Buddy had a Duster, but they called it the Dodge. Yeah, they may have. The car itself was a Duster. But you're right. I think they did call it a Dodge on the show. Don't forget Titus is a car guy. Okay, I don't even know who you're talking about. I really don't know anything about TV for the last 20-some years. I like Seinfeld. How's that? I like the Andy Griffith Show. All this modern stuff, I have no idea. He had a 55 Nomad on Home Improvement. Yeah, see, I remember that. I remember the Nomad better. But they had that other one. J&T staged a fake drag race on the Tonight Show. I remember something about that. I remember Jay Leno parallel parking and running into a Camaro on something. I also remember Jay Leno messing up the clutch in Mark Pollock's Pro Stalker. Remember that on the Tonight Show. Thumper says Titus is a far left anti-gun nutter. Okay, that's probably why I don't know who he is. Fabrace Mod repeats, says according to Al Bundy, Dodge, the name alone says wealth and power. Whoever came out with that slogan never saw my driveway. T's Good Times Garage is A-Body Talk, a 72 340 3-speed on my list of one that got away. Yeah, you don't see a lot of those, but that's pretty cool. That is cool. And that was a standard transmission with a 340. It's just nobody got it. Rust Before Hole says this will be my first No Name Nationals. Is it 1/8 or 1/4 mile? It is 1/8 mile. 6th Street Garage says TV is terrible today. Yes, it is. For the most part, television today is a bunch of woke trash. Dean Stevenson says 1/8 mile, 330 feet. Don't do that. 1/8 is 660. Although there are a few 330-foot drag strips and 300-foot drag strips around the country. I'd like to go to one. You look at the records for the track and it's like, whoa! And if you don't know that's only 300 feet, you're like, what are they putting in the junior dragsters at that track? Atwood's planning on 20-inch rims. Yeah. Okay. Man, that whole big rim, short sidewall stuff is just so weird to me. I know it's the thing now. LSS drone 343 speed isn't a. That's so funny. Dean Stevens says, I'm going to have to write lines in red again. Go for it. Sean O'Brien is here. Thanks for coming by, sir. Good to see you. Rapid Transit J. Thank you for swinging in. Yeah, Danny Boyd says 343 speed transmissions were featured in Fast and Furious. That's right, because their drag race must have been about 5 miles long, 4 wide. You know, thing about Fast and Furious, you have all that weirdness in it. You know, all that stuff that's impossible. And, you know, that race went on, it seemed like for 2 minutes that they're drag racing, right? At 1,000,000 miles an hour, and the fake wheel stand on the Charger that people on the internet still say, well, how do you know that was fake? The car went straight up, sat there, and spun the tires and then moved. There was not a real wheel stand. I mean, you can look at the production notes, the making of the movie. There's all kinds of clips on that, how they did that. They had like some cable thing that did that. But the thing is, I still like the original Fast and Furious. The movie was good. It was an original plot. It was a good movie. And all the goofiness and fakery doesn't bother me. For the same way that even though as a professional firearms trainer, you don't think I see all the nuttiness in Clint Eastwood movies? All of the horrible gun handling and nonsense. Yeah, I see it, but it doesn't take away from my ability to watch and enjoy Dirty Harry and Magnum Force, and etc. So I see all that stuff in Fast and Furious. It's a movie. It doesn't bother me. Although I really like it and appreciate it, it stands out to me in movies when there's a lot of things they do really well, technically correct. I respect that when I see a movie really get things right. You know, but not gonna stop me enjoying the movie regardless. Clayton says 300 feet might be fun. There is one on the West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio border. It's near Huntington up there. That's 300 feet. They used to have an old like a sand drag pit there or something, and they did put in a 300-foot dragway. And they don't have enough shutdown. There's like a railroad trestle or something. So there's that. There's another one up in Kentucky that's 300 feet on the mountain somewhere. Everybody that just says, oh no, 1/4 mile's all it should be, quarter's the best, 1/8 is awful. You don't understand. It is really mountainous here. It would be very hard to get a 1/4 mile track in anywhere here. We don't have a straight quarter. Well, right here where I live, we don't even have a straight half, or 5/8, whatever you need with the track and the shutdown. We have one road around here that's that straight. It's over in Elliston. And I don't know that people have ever used that to race. I'm sure some people have. I've never really wound anything out over there. Not that I didn't think about it when I was younger, but never did. Thumper says, make it 3 yards and we got an automobile race. 6th Street Garage says, I've never raced on a track. You know how to fix that? 202 days and 3 hours and 13 minutes. You can come race with us in Sykeston. Get your subs. Make it happen, Captain. And come out. We can walk the track, and we got a beginner's bracket and everything. Be a lot of fun. Danny Boyd says Fast and Furious is responsible for the Street Outlaws being the way they are. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Maybe. I don't know. Paul McDonald says the Charger and Fast and Furious buckled like crazy when it did that wheel stand. I don't know. They were pulling on it with cables to do that. Halfwit likes the rake on his truck. Cool. LSS says Fast and Furious is the ultimate high-octane adrenaline rush packed with street racing, over-the-top action, whole lot of family, which started as a movie about underground car culture. Okay. It's okay. It's a good movie. I like the first one. The rest of it's just, like all these other sequels people made. Too many sequels of stuff. See, I just kind of think that unless a movie is designed to be made as a sequel or a trilogy or something, what happens is somebody will take the original idea that's really good, and then people are like, well, we want more of that. And then so what they'll do is, and if you look like at, say, Wikipedia, where they always list the box office and the budget, every time the sequel costs more, makes less, but they're just milking it. And I like it when people will take their original best idea, do the best they can with it, then leave it alone. There are some good sequels. There are some good remakes. Some movies lend themselves to that, like Indiana Jones is a good example. Raiders of the Lost Ark was a good movie. I actually think Temple of Doom was better because it lent itself to him having another and different adventure. But when some people have to make a sequel, especially something like a horror movie, right? So it's like, okay, so the bad guy's dead. We had all this impossible, hard to believe, once in a lifetime stuff. And it's like, okay, it made money. So now we have to create a scenario for another even more unlikely once in a lifetime stuff. See, that's the kind of stuff that just kills me. I can't deal with that. Halfwit said, didn't go insane on the torque converter. 2800 Boss Hog lightweight billet. Boss Hog makes a billet converter? First I've ever heard of that. Stephen Holtz would like to get a hold of an auxiliary airfield for a track. Yeah. Thumper says Halloween 36. Jason hangs out with Mike. Yeah, who knows? Halloween 1 was a really good movie. Really, really good movie. John Carpenter took a great idea. He made a great score for it that everyone knows, right? Did really good with his idea. And then they made the second one. In the second one, they had to come up with some other thing. So it's a hospital and it's different and all. And then a third one didn't have Michael Myers and it was all weird. And they just, again and again and again, I don't know how many of them they're up to now. It's got to be about a dozen. Got to be about a dozen. And I've seen some of the other ones, but Halloween 1, great movie. All the rest of it's just whatever. Clayton's Toolbox says Cobra Kai is the best sequel ever. It really is. And you know what? I've seen like the first season of that. When it was free, and then I haven't seen any of the others, but I might watch it. But the thing is, I'm not good at that because I don't just sit and watch TV. My head's always swimming. I don't. But I really liked the first season. I liked it so. Old McDonald's talking about Christine Killdozer, the Wraith and Vanishing Point. Okay. Stephen Holtz says the PTC converter in men, I guess it is men, in my 68 Fairlane made a huge difference in that car. Torque converter makes a difference in any car. It is kind of a neglected piece of the puzzle in hot rodding because no one sees it. The less visible part of the car it is, the less people want to spend on it, typically. Amazing what the right converter will do. Absolutely. Sean O'Brien says, who is the best car movie director? That's a good question. It's a real good question. I have to think about that. I would have to think about that. Good question. Quentin Tarantino did one car movie, and it was a tribute to all the exploitation films in that style with Death Proof. But the movie itself wasn't that good, I didn't think. I didn't think it was at all. 6th Street Garage says, speaking of movies, this will be the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Yes, it will. 4th of July weekend this year, Jaws will be 50. 2Hack says Halloween was based in Haddonfield, Illinois, which doesn't exist, but on the map it would be Pontiac. Yeah, so if you look at the map, there was a scene in the movie where they showed a map of where Haddonfield was, and you could tell where it should be. It was filmed in California. Yes, it was. The Myers house is in L.A. Halfwit called Boss Hog and told him my specs. I can't believe Boss Hog is even still a thing anymore. That surprises me. Scantman said he would vote for Quentin Tarantino. Well, you said director, so he did one car movie, and he's a great director. So that's how I get that. Directors overall, I really like Stanley Kubrick. I think he was a really good director. Ridley Scott's not bad, but that annoying. When he did that movie American Gangster, which is a good movie and I enjoyed it, but they had this thing where they would play the theme music through the entire movie in about 20 different ways, and it got on my nerves. And now that I've said that, you'll never not hear that. 2Hack says Hal Needham. That would probably be, as far as a true car movie director, would be probably the best choice. And he was a really good stuntman too. So I could get behind that one. I could get behind that one. LSS says there's 13 movies in the Halloween franchise featuring Michael Myers. Well, no, because you said featuring Michael Myers. No, because Halloween 3 Season of the Witch did not have Michael Myers in it. So there are 12 with Michael Myers, because all the rest of them do. I don't know how people couldn't see that he was central to that movie, but they didn't. Yeah, I would go with that. A car movie director, I would go with that. LSS Drone is a fan of Daisy Duke. It was a great show. Yes, it was. Sean O'Brien needs to rewatch Death Proof. Once was good enough for me. Whoever did the Gone in 60 Seconds is awesome. Yeah, okay. I'm just thinking overall. Miss Daisy is to be at a car show up here in a few weeks. What Miss Daisy are we talking about? Because if you're talking about Jessica Tandy that played Miss Daisy, she's been dead for 30 years. Halfwit's still kicking down in Alabama. Yeah, I know that's where they're from. That's was it ACC Performance or something? Humper says Catherine Bach never did it to me. So Dallas says otherwise. He thinks Hal Needham wins hands down. Yeah. I'd get behind Hal Needham just because he does car movies, whereas Quentin did a car movie, but really he just wanted to do an exploitation type flick and did it with cars. So that's really what that was. Recommended to me by Irish Outlaw Garage. Cool. Irish J, good dude. Thumper wants to add Rosie O'Donnell and Kathy Bates to that list. Yes. Oh, gosh. Colleen says, Thumper, they don't count as women. Wow. Wow. That was a 500-degree burn by Colleen. Hot Rod Guy Garage is two-lane blacktop for me. Of course, we're talking about the director, not the movie. Mohawk's voting for Neil Blomkamp from Gran Turismo. Well, Gran Torino is not a car movie per se. It's just named for a car. There's a lot of directors that might have done some stuff with a car, but aren't car movie directors, I guess you'd say. I'm surprised Thumper didn't think of one car so he could say Russ Meyer. Sixth Street Garage says, I'm not familiar with California Kid. Is it worth watching? I've not seen it. I've heard of it. I've not seen it. My friend Billy says he likes the picture of Danny Boyd's truck. Is it a 75 F100 there, Danny Boyd? Who directed Used Cars with Kurt Russell? I don't know. Rusty Four Holes recommends California Kid. He says it's worth watching. Danny Boyd, I kind of remember this. He says, I wonder what happened with that General Lee where those two dummies took a handicapped guy's General Lee director. I sort of remember that. It was in the Branson area. I don't know whatever became of that story. Don't forget Dirty Mary Crazy Larry. We're just naming car movies now. We're not actually thinking who the director is and how many movies that director did and what their total contribution was to the direction of car movies. It's a 77. Okay. I knew it was 1 year different than my friend Jonathan's. So there you go, Billy. I got it up on the screen. It's a 77 F-150. When we were in high school, Billy had a 79 F-150 short bed. That was such a cool truck. Such a bummer to be gone. We rode around a lot in that thing. I remember it had a 306 in it when we were in grade school. Then Billy got it, and they put a 302 in it and painted it. It's a cool truck. Had a CB. Got all the tire he could get under the fenders on that two-wheel drive truck, too. I remember that. 302 C4. Cool truck. I miss it. Hal Needham was about the greatest. I would agree with that. LSS Drone found something that says during the filming of Dukes of Hazzard, estimated 309 Chargers used. Yeah. We actually had one of the mechanics for Warner Brothers on the show, and he told us all about that. So Tom Sarmento worked for them from the second season on, and He used to be a mechanic for them, did the work for them, got the cars ready and all of that. That's an older live we did. Although Tom wants to come back on, so we'll have him back on. And people can ask all these kinds of questions. But he answers a lot of obscure stuff people don't know. Justin Hill is here from the coldness of Idaho. Howdy. Fabrice Mod Repeat says it was Robert Zemeckis who directed used cars, I believe. Cool. Stephen Holtz is a 72 F100. Thumper says my ex was a Nebraska hoe. Okay. Danny Boyd says 240 and a 3 on the tree. Oh, wow. I'm surprised at that. It's a 240 in that truck? Cool. Billy's was automatic, but he liked the longer shifter from the 3 on the tree, so that was the shifter he had on him. Stevens is a 390 with a 3-speed manual. I kind of like the 390, even though I know they have oiling problems. Sean O'Brien likes Jason Statham's Transporter series. I have a hard time watching anything that guy's in. And I'm just me, I'm not into CGI and stuff. It's one reason I don't like modern movies, action movies. They don't do anything real anymore. It's all just CGI and stuff. Justin Hill got a new camper. Okay. George for American Graffiti. George Lucas, do you do American Graffiti? Again, he would be a high-ranking director, but that was the only car movie he would have done. Danny Boyd says, someone swapped in the 240 calls for 300. See, that makes a lot more sense. I would have been really surprised if that truck had had a 240 in it. It also has something like 280 when it's supposed to have 300 gears. How do you know the difference between that? You actually pulled the chunk and counted the teeth? It probably is 3 to 1. Now, Mater offered that guy $275 for the chassis, and he still said too low. He can keep that death trap the way it is. I will tell you this, Mater. If you have to dice up your offer, how in the world are you ever going to build it? Because you're going to have a whole lot more money than that in it to try to build it. What I would say is just start setting the budget aside to get yourself there. Just come out. Come have fun with us. Don't worry about building something to run. Just come have fun. Mr. Rodder says it's the only car movie he needed to direct in the run. And he did part 1 and 2, so he did 2 car movies. So Danny Boyd rolled the truck forward in the parking lot, counted the drive. It's probably 3 to 1. That's going to be my guess. I'm guessing it's actually a 3 to 1. I don't think that I think you're within the realm of accuracy, 280 something versus 3. I think you're going to find it's 3 to 1. Twisted Mopar says, what's going on in here? You see it. A bunch of nonsense. And for anybody who missed it earlier, for those who are registered for the No Name Nationals, I'm posting the information for our concierge at Edelbrock, 10 to 15% off anything at edelbrock.com. Our contact is Alex So, the Edelbrock Group Technical Consultant. There's his phone and email. You must be registered for the No Name Nationals, and you call or email him and get that discount. And as we buy together as a group, we will move toward an even better discount. Steven says there's some 280s and 294s out there. That's kind of wild that you would have 280 and 294 and 3 to 1. That just seems wild to me. You'd have ratios that close together. Maybe the taller tires are throwing off the ratio. Should. The revolution of the tire is going to be the same. It's just you're going to have more or less distance traveled for it if you're trying to do it that way. I tell you, I don't know if you could do it or not. If you could get a bore scope in through the fill plug on a 9-inch, I kind of don't think you can because of where the fill plug goes right at the side of the carrier opposite the ring gear. No tag on the diff. Yeah. Fab Race Mod Repeat came across a 66 Fairlane GT 393 speed from the factory. Yep. My friend Billy's brother bought a 66 Fairlane GTA 390 automatic. Gosh, that was such a nice car. Low mileage. Went downhill fast in his brother's care. Sixth Street Garages, I recently realized that American Graffiti took place in 3 different years. Taller tires made your speedometer run slower along with the drive shaft. Yeah. Well, it's not. They're not making your drive shaft run slower. You're getting more distance with the same drive shaft speed. I mean, it's all a relationship, Danny Boyd. Mr. Rodder says there was a 1970 Buick GS Stage 1 3-speed manual. Okay. There was one of them. Fab Race Mod repeats that some government model F100s had 240s and very odd gears. Cool. I remember one time this guy was selling some Department of Agriculture 71 Dodge D100s with 8 3/4, and I took the chunk out of one of them. He was parting it out. 557 ring and pinion in that thing. Clayton's Toolbox has dealt with Alex over there at Edelbrock's. This is a great help. Good to talk to. Yeah, they have a great crew over there. Everybody over there is knowledgeable and knows what they're doing. It's good stuff. Justin Hill says, does anyone know how ASO is doing? I've not talked to him in a while. I've gotten a message from him not too awfully long ago. But now I need to check on him. You see him pop up in here on a rare occasion. He's got that channel, Freedom of the Press. And no, Warning Labels Racing is the one you'll see him pop up on in here. Main Street Mopar says, I'm going to need to change my speedometer gear and the transmission since I went from a 323 to a 456. Hope I can find the right one. Should be able to. Yeah, I mean, there's a table. Stephen Holt's Fairlane is a 289 gear. Smaller tires make everything spin faster at the same speed. Yeah. And the tires don't make anything spin any speed at all. It's just smaller tires are going to have more RPM at the same speed than you have with larger tires. Twisted Mopar says 28 is a normal standard tire size. You know, in A bodies, a lot of people run a 26-inch tire. 28 is really popular. 30 is taller than most. Thumper says use a GPS. Yeah, for speed on. Yeah, you can. What's the link to purchase tickets for No Name Nationals 2025? Check it out. NoNameNationals.com, Mater. Take you right there. .38 says the Vega and its brothers often had 290 gears. Very light. Sean has a 25-inch tire. The One-Eyed Cat was running 24-inch slicks or 24-inch drag radials on his Valiant No Name Nationals because that car has something like a 245 gears. He has the shortest tire he can get. Twisted Mopar says 26 will make you have a taller gear than you actually have. No, but you'll effectively have a deeper gear ratio than you would with 28-inch tires. So if you want to have more gear ratio, you can run a shorter tire to get that effect. And then it says 29 takes away over a 28. That'd be correct. And then you have rollout. Yeah, all of this factors together. All of it factors together. Your transmission ratios, your tire height, your rear end gear, all of that works in concert. And then in like the Volkswagen buses, you have reduction boxes. You have a little set of straight cut gears at the rear wheels that the Volkswagen buses would use that would raise them 3.5 inches up, and then they would add even more gear. So in those things, you had a 437 gear ratio in the transaxle, and you had another, I don't know how much it is. It's like 20-25% more gear at those reduction boxes. Those VW buses, man, I can't even imagine how slow you'd have to drive to not blow one of those up on the highway. Fabrics Mod repeats as 26-inch tires considered zero or true gear. A lot of cars use a 26-inch tire from the factory. It's pretty common. What's 38 saying? It's drive shaft revolution per distance traveled equals final drive ratio. It's all just math, man. Sean O'Brien wants to get into rollout. One-Eyed Cat said those 24-inch tires ran great for my gear. I don't think I broke loose once that I know of. Yeah, you did need to put more gear in that car, man. Do you even math? Yeah. Yeah, I use the revolutions per mile of the tire itself. I believe it's 63,360 inches in a mile. Do I have that right? 5,280 feet per mile. Yeah, 63,360 inches per mile. And then I figure out the circumference of the tire. And I have, how many revolutions per mile on the tire. And then I know that it's 60 miles per hour at 1-to-1 in the transmission. I use that. And so what I calculate is always at 60 miles an hour for that reason. And then I can divide that by 60, multiply it by whatever mile per hour I want, get the RPM at that. That's the goofy way that I back into it when I'm trying to figure out RPM with a certain size tire, with a certain rear gear, etc. But that only works with 1-to-1 on the transmission. But if not, all you do is just do one more multiplication. Of course, we live in an overdrive world now, so. Yeah, I just think this is funny, the way y'all are expressing this. Taller tires will lessen your tires don't change anything. It's the tires are not governing the speed you drive. That's what I'm saying. Indecisive garages, I run a 30-inch tire in the quarter and a 28 in the eighth. I pick up 300 in the eighth. 300 RPM. We're picking up 300 what? Yeah, there's a lot of different ways people do their formulas. There's a lot of ways to do it. Thumper can, yeah, Thumper can do the math. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the tire height will change all of your math. Yes, it will. But the tire height is not deciding how fast you drive. That's what I'm saying. It's just one piece of that equation. The tire height is a piece of the equation. The gear is a piece of the equation, the rear end. What the gear in the transmission is, that final drive in the transmission, whatever gear that is that you're wanting to figure it on. Most people never figure it on first, second, or overdrive. They usually figure it on 1-to-1, or they'll figure it in overdrive for highway speed. I'm just saying those are all pieces of the equation. They're all equally important because without them, you can't get a real number. Taller tires will theoretically give you more or higher top end speed at the same given engine RPM. Yes. Yes, they will. Danny Boy says, I've felt short tires increase my acceleration. Again, you're changing that variable to a shorter tire. That's effectively like the same as if you added more rear end gear ratio. Yep. It's just one piece of that variable. Hey, man, I'm just saying, I think that it will be good to just come hang out with everybody and make you a battle plan and build a car for 2026. We're not promised tomorrow. I don't know how many No Name Nationals will run. You never know. Halfwit Lab has a board 30 over 6.0 block on a stand in my garage. Another posi rear sitting around. Standard cab. Could do short box, but I'm poor. Got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, the tire is a variable of equal importance to the rear end gear ratio, of equal importance to what the transmission ratio. All of that is factored in what that speed is in RPM. And Christy Mopar says growth of the tire through the speed range changes it too. Just say, yeah, but tire growth is going to be something, for race tires. Your radial street tire, no, but yeah, sure, yeah. And the most radically exaggerated example of tire growth would be like on a top fuel car. You can watch those tires stretch out to over 40 inches. Mohawk says, my 30-inch tires really mess with my ratio. Well, he doesn't run a lot of rear end gear and runs a really tall tire, and the car still runs low eights. I've never seen a better candidate for a deep rear end gear than that car is. Yeah, Indecisive Garage. I base my tire size on what RPM I want to be at the finish line in third gear without locked up. Yeah. Most people have a target, whether it's cruising RPM or finish line RPM or whatever, and they work backwards from there. Sherry Marie says, good evening, guys. Howdy. Thanks for coming by. Danny Boyd says, I prefer the look of a long bed, and a long bed somewhat conveys sleeper status onto a truck. These days, I don't know what conveys sleeper status for anything. I don't even know. People have been building sleepers so long now, I don't know if anything makes for a sleeper. I mean, when somebody sees like a wood grain wagon or something, there's like, oh, I bet it's fast, because most of the wood grain wagons you see around now are fast. What is a sleeper now? LSS, we're all over it. We're all over it. Levi says, Indecisive Garage, are you the one who bought the beadlock Ford Lightning wheels? You have beadlocks on that truck, Tim? You did? I didn't notice. It's terrible, isn't it? To have beadlocks and someone didn't notice. Expensive as they are. I see Dougster's joining us. Have no fear, the Dougster is here with his potato there. See how it works when someone comes in and rings the doorbell. Everybody in the party greets him. Indecisive Garage says, no, we didn't have the beadlocks, but the Bogart's equally as expensive. Man, the cost of wheels now is out of sight. That doesn't fool anybody, Don. There's enough difference between the two of them that they, you know. I do wonder what your 225 would run, though. You should take it to the track and see what your 225 will run. Levi says that Indecisive Garage has great taste. I can go with that. Quite literally, too, he made a pan of lasagna. He's got a short up about that. I thought that was pretty cool. Thumper's Inner Cannibal is there. Yeah, Cope was telling me what this this one wheel on a fast car he saw was, this beadlock wheel. Just, it's unreal. I want to say it was like $2,000 or something for one wheel. Nope. Half Witch Truck says it looks stock but not stock. 04 Silverado extended cab, 6.5 the bed. It's green. Okay. Dizzy says the wife busted an 18-inch rim on her Avenger, cost $325 to replace. I so would never have paid that. I would go to the junkyard for that. $325? Gosh, no. Dougster says he's been working on his cylinder heads, getting ready for reassembly in the near future. Cool. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat is here. Indecisive Garage says I have race stars, but the Bogarts are 10 pounds lighter per tire. That's very significant on a race vehicle. Levi said, I've heard beadlocks can actually stabilize the sidewall. Screwing wheels does the same thing, sort of. I've never had anything but rim screws on anything. Cannot imagine I ever will have a beadlock. Dizzy went to 5 yards, no go. Buddy, I'd have gotten 10. I'd have gotten 4 steel wheels for a whole lot less than $325. But I'm glad you got her rolling again. That's the car that Dizzy was a threat in the No Name Nationals bracket with, right? That's wild that in 5 yards you couldn't find it. Did you go to carpart.com? It's got a hyphen in the middle. But I'm telling you, that's a great site for finding stuff like that. Let's go look. It's a 2018 Avenger. I want to know now. Let's see. 2018 Dodge. Gosh, they don't even have it listed. How can that be? What year is it, Dizzy? Oh, it's an 18-inch rim. What year's the car, Dizzy? Because I don't see an Avenger listed for 18. I must have that wrong. 2013. Okay, that's what I did wrong. I'll say. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to find out if there's a... because this site is really, really good for that. 2013. That makes a lot more sense. And then Dodge. It's a great little site. It's got a hyphen in the middle. Car and then hyphenpart.com. It's a locator for junkyards. I'm assuming it's under steering and suspension. Let's go. Maybe not. Wheel. Air, fuel, axle, brakes. Engine, glass, heating, cooling. Let me just look for wheels. Steering wheel, wheel without image, wheel bearing, wheel cover. I'm going to hit wheel. And let's just look. Yeah, here we go. So it's an 18 by 7. Are yours chrome clad? Or are yours machine finished, Dizzy? We're going to look right now. Chrome clad. There we go. All right. So here's the results. They are everywhere. Wow. Prices are everywhere. But I'm seeing them for $150. All kinds of places. 125, 103, $100. All kind of places, man. This is the first page. I mean, there's 8 pages of them, man. Let's look where the lowest price one is. I mean, some of these that are priced lower might have curb rash or something, but let's look at page 2. Let's just sort them out by lowest to find out. If I sort them out by lowest, I don't know if I can do it on the mobile, but I'm finding, yeah, but Dizzy, gosh, 100 versus 325. I'd pay for the shipping for $225 a difference. But anyway, that site I highly recommend. It's car and then a hyphen and then part.com. And it's got a locator, and I'm telling you, and some of those wheels are really, really high, but when I look at the results on them, I mean, even on the first page, we're down to $100. So there's one in North Carolina. I mean, they're everywhere. You can also sort them by zip code too, so it'll give you distance from you. Dean wants to know why they don't make 18-inch rims with a 4-inch square curb cut into them so you can park against the curb. Yeah, that's a very worthy thing to wonder. Beckerwood Customs, howdy, man. Yeah, Tim says that's what he uses all the time. I love that site. I bought all kinds of stuff off that site. Engines, transmissions, body parts. Yeah, just save the site, man. Great site for finding stuff. On later stuff. I mean, old stuff, it's not as much because it won't be, they're not going to categorize a lot of old car parts and stuff. But when you need later model stuff like that, it's a great place to look. They have quadrijet. I'm sure they do. But again, that's something you're probably going to find more at a swap meet than you would on this site because this is for cataloged modern car parts. But when I need something like that, that's a great place to find it. When I needed a windshield for the CRV, that's the place I went. There was a place in North Carolina, so they had it. The price was right. Of course, way less than calling a glass place. I called them up. They said, yeah, we don't pull windshields, but if you want to pull it, we'll sell it to you. So I went down there and pulled it. Yeah, I hear that. When you need it now, got to do what you got to do. Yeah, time definitely plays a factor there. Evans Mopar Scott said when the car was fairly new, my dad needed a taillight for his Dodge Ram. They wanted an arm and leg. I'll tell you what, buying dealer parts is outrageous. Wouldn't believe what those little plastic snaps that hold inner fenders and the plastic junk they put all over cars. You wouldn't believe what the dealer wants for those things. A part that should cost $1 and it'll be like 10. There is a Honda specialty junkyard in North Carolina, not that far from here, and it is great. Torque Racing Production Roland is here. He says if anyone would like to buy some TRP microfiber garage towels, sales will go to Fixing Reaper. Busy Izzy says rim and new tire $540. I'm assuming $540. Ouch. Halfwood hates the little plastic Christmas tree things. Yeah, I kind of like the ones that are like an anchor. So you put it in the hole that holds the part, and then you snap the center down. I like that better than I do the ones that just have a true Christmas tree of plastic, because those just do nothing but break. All of those cars, when they get older, half of it winds up in the door. Half of it likes expansion, and yeah, most people do. Dougster says 6% recycled. Scott had his Hunchero project on display at Autorama this weekend. It's there now. He's showing it as a work in progress. Okay. That's that Honda that he made a pickup out of or something, isn't it? Evans Mo Parsons can't drown out the Reaper. Yeah, I really had no doubt that Roland was going to fix that car, even before he got in there, because he has the talent to do it. He's not going to walk away from that. It's nothing he can't fix. Yeah, he'll make it happen. Nothing anybody would ask for, but if anybody can rally and do it, it's him. Halfwit replaced a bunch of the Christmas tree fasteners with riv nuts. I don't even know necessarily what that is, but okay. I'm assuming it's a rivet with a threaded boss on it of some kind. All right, so you know that when Roland's wrenched on that car, he'll be playing some Blue Oyster Cult, the Reaper. Threaded rivet, yes. I've actually taken a tap and threaded a rivet before. It was dicey. And there wasn't anything left of that ID. I mean, it was nothing you would ever could just tighten into, but LSS drones hitting the sack for the evening. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming by. BNR likes rib nuts. Okay, I might need to look into those. Indirect Connection Jason is here. Thanks for coming by, man. Peckerwood Custom says on Carport now, what's a legit zip code I could use that's near bigger towns and cities I want to ship them international? Dude, with the shipping you're paying, I think it's not going to make a whole lot of difference, but I would go with a big city near the port, whatever it is sending to you. So, man, that's a tough one. You're literally on the other side of the world. If you want to look at the East Coast, I would look at Atlanta, LA. I would look at either coast, Atlanta or LA. When you look at New York, the prices are higher and they don't have as much. They just crush and melt everything up north. But the Atlanta area, Charlotte area, Los Angeles, that'd probably be the places to look. But just sort it by zip code. See who has what you want, because your shipping is going to be so high anyway. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of difference between moving your parts domestically. And you have car underscore part there. You mean it's car hyphen. So what you've got on the screen won't get you there. Just saying. Dizzy Izzy said I got accepted for Sick Week Smokies, but my entry after Can buy my entry after March 22nd. Buy myself. Kind of scary. Ought to be a blast. Cool. Have fun. Be safe. Sean O'Brien says 6mm riv nuts are how I hold up my fuel line under the car. Yeah, I've never used them. I've always just used the little clamps. Dougster says, my cousin grew up in Georgia, moved to Utah, and still brings Georgia trucks to sell in Utah. That surprised me. I guess there's money in it. Things bring a lot more money up north. Evans Mopar says, am I closer or farther away from you? You could use my place in Washington and I could ship it to you. Would that help? Yeah. Now that could be a way. The junkyards would ship. Some of them may not ship internationally. Just look around and see what you find and figure out how to move it later. Half-witch truck came from Georgia, barely has any rust. Yeah. I mean, Georgia's got a lot of humidity, though, a lot of rain and all that, like Florida does. So it's not like a dry car from out west, but they do generally snow-free, most of Georgia. On very rare occasion, it would snow in North Georgia where my aunt was. Rare occasion. Yeah, just come the site over, see what you can find. Might be worth your while to ship something even from the middle of the country if you find it. But I love that site. And it gives you the part grade, which, most important thing is it gives you a phone number for the yard. So you can call them and ask them what they actually have. But it's a pretty good site. I've bought a lot of stuff, and I've used it for a long time. I've used it over 20 years. Same site. I mean, I know for sure that I bought it. I know for sure that I bought a transmission I built on there one time. And the house I was living in, I couldn't have bought it any newer than the year 2003. I've been using that site over 22 years. Won't let me search without a zip. Okay. Hey, just use 90210. Just use that from that old TV show. Use that 90210. It won't matter because all it's going to do with the zip code is sort them by distance. So that'll tell you how far from LA your parts are. Just use that. If you want to go to the other side of the country, use mine. Use 24073. All it's going to do is sort the parts out by distance from the zip code. That's all. Izzy says that's going to be Rockingham, Tail of the Dragon, Mountain Roads, Nashville, Drag Strip, etc. Yeah. Sounds like a good little run, not far from here. Yeah, they're giving you all these zip codes. I'm just saying, it doesn't even matter which one you use. You're going to, once you get in there, you can sort them by anything you want. Brazil is here. How's it going, sir? You want this cup, Jethro? It's empty. Want the cup? No, too tired to play with the cup. Yeah, if it were 9 a.m. instead of 9 p.m., he'd be up here getting that. Yeah, I can't even half figure out the addresses that you guys on the other side of the world have. Hey, we've had Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the U.S. We've had everything but Mexico in the chat tonight. Usually those 5 countries is cool. We get those 5 representative regulars. We have not had any Mexicans in here tonight that I know of. Rizal says he has at least 2 Dragon drives on the schedule this year. Thought about Sick at the Rock, but I'm going to skip it. Man, there's a lot of Dragon drives going on now. A lot of them. A lot of them. Yeah, have fun. Fly the colors on your trail. Mexican Spec is driving a car. New customer. Okay, understand. Mater's Workshop says, since I spent the $35 tonight for a ticket, now I'm looking for a place to stay in Stockton. Mater, most people, probably more than don't, camp right there at the track. Your buddies all camp right there at the track. If you don't want to camp at the track, I can recommend places. The Drury is the nicest. It's also the most expensive. Pear Tree is probably a little cheaper next door. Best Western, which is just a block away from those, I think is a better value. I've stayed there a few times, so. I've not heard good marks about the Super 8, but Best Western's fine. Drury's very nice, where Ron Ward stays. People recommend the Pear Trees. There's lots of places you can stay in Sykeston Minor area, but I like those because they're right there by Lambert's, and you can take that little side road straight to the track. But most people camp. I camped last year. Camping is great, a lot of fun. There's shower houses, concessions. People are always cooking. The weather's perfect that time of year, so don't be afraid to camp. Evans Mopar says, my dog Roscoe loved chasing an empty milk jug around the yard like a ball. Oh, yeah, Jeffrey loves playing with that kind of stuff. He likes these cups, too. But he normally wants to go after these. What, the cup? Yeah? No? He's too tired. He's too tired to play. But he's awake enough to come in here and bother me before the live is over. So Stephen Hope says, I camped the first year. Yeah. A lot of people camp. I camped last year. I stayed Best Western first 2 and camped the third. Of course, I'm there for a week. It's, pretty significant stay for me. Yeah, and Dougster he camps there. He brings his own stuff. So a lot of people do. Maters, I'm thinking of making the trip on my bike, so not any room for camping gear. Heavens Mopar Scott's flies in. He flies in and camps. You don't need a lot of gear. You need a sleeping bag or a little roll-up tent or something. You should be able to handle that on your bike. Andy says Hotel F-150 wasn't too bad. So I had the CRV with a little tag trailer on the back for carrying all the gear in. Once I took all the gear out, I just crashed in the trailer. Totally fine. Of course, I got to tell you, I'm so busy working that event that here, you take that cup, I'll hand it to you. Here, take the cup. No. Take it. If you're going to take it, take it. Yeah, I work so much there where I get just so tired, I just fall asleep quick. Halfwit Labs stayed at the Holiday Inn Express last year and saw me afterwards at the steakhouse next to the hotel. That had to have been, I had to have been with Tony Ross and Lars and Tony's buddy. Had to have been. Because I went there, and then one night I went with Lars over to Applebee's. There's not a whole lot of places to eat there. But, had to have been. And then the year before that, I went to dinner with Tony Ross and Cope and Patrick and Jackie, and we all went somewhere different for that. Of course, I was just riding. I never drive anywhere the whole event. I just catch rides everywhere with people like Andy. I caught a ride with Andy to town. 38 found the accommodations were quite nice every year. It is a good place to camp, though. I mean, the weather's nice. It's good. It's good. It's not loud at night. People are pretty respectful at night, so pretty quiet there. Yeah, halfway went back to the track to hang out with folks camping till late. Exactly. There are a lot of people who look for a place to stay, and then they realize they really want to be at the track and they want to hang out, and they're like, I should have just camped. I have heard that from a lot of people. I know Dust Devil Brian, he's got a hotel room the first year, never did it again. He camped ever after. He says, no, camping's where it's at. A lot of people say that. One-Eyed Cat, Wendy, the Englishes, they all camp. Yep. Evans Mopar Scott says, does anyone have an extra tent and sleeping bag I can use? I'm only allowed one carry-on. It's funny. I forget that most people prefer to do the one carry-on thing because I always have to check a bag no matter what when I fly for the handgun. So, I mean, even if I could carry everything on for where I go, I still have to check stuff. Scantman says, just sleep on my trailer. Yeah. Dougster says, No Name Nationals, good time, great people. I agree. Wendy's got you covered, according to the One-Eyed Cat there, Scott. So, yep. Scott flies in from the other side of the country. Peckerwood Custom says, I'll be under the BTP trailer, I think. Aaron, are you coming in this year? You gonna make it to the middle of the United States in 2025? Yeah, Don and Wendy are good like that. They are super good people. He says, I'm hoping so. Well, we hope you make it too, man. We'd like to meet you in person. Jethro, give me a break. Come here, buddy. Do not go over to the door and bark. If you're going to do that, either roll out or come back over here. For those sleeping under the stars, I hope there's no rain. Well, me too, but we've been really lucky on that. We did have one day where it poured rain well before the event. We've never actually had rain during the event. So, Jethro says yes. Jethro just says it's almost time for last patrol. Sean O'Brien says, I personally had an amazing time camping and had great conversations, nice people all around. That's generally what people say. Don't get testy with me. Come here, Jethro. It's people like you that make the world go around. Yeah. Scamp Man says he's got to go. Been fun. Bye to you and Jethro. Yeah, Jethro's he's telling me it's about time to go. Indecisive Garage says there will be room in my trailers. He's going to bring his enclosed. Rain before burnouts. Oh, yeah, that's right. We did have a downpour after the bracket, but right at the beginning of the burnout competition. But the rain was short. They did a great job of drying off the burnout pit. You don't have to get the burnout pit nearly as dry as you do a track, but they did a great job of blowing that off and getting it ready, and we had a great burnout competition. So, yes, Turbo Tom is correct. We did have rain before the burnout competition. Peckerwood Custom says, I like to sleep under something so I won't wake up with Magoo glasses on my face with felt pens. I understand that. Quit growling. The perils of not having a babysitter. Stephen Hope says, hit that thumbs up. Only got 40 people on here and 21 likes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been a little light tonight. I don't think we even cracked 50 tonight, which is unusual. Yeah, Jethro is starting to get cranky. He might not make it the rest of the live. I might not either. I flipped the stick his way. If that doesn't do it, I'm going to call it even. It didn't do it at all. Dougster says, Ray and I bench race until an ungodly hour Saturday night. Unfinished Project is here with his Dart Sport comment. I bet Jethro misses your mom. Indeed, he does. As do I. Dean Stevenson says the Dart hang 10. Yep. Anyone picking up alive after you? I have no idea. Buff is having his usual live. Buff is live about almost every night of the week. There's more. He's live more nights of the week than he isn't. 38 says, good times. I hate to waste his sleeping. It caught up with him on the drive home. I didn't make it. Yeah, I can see that. I think I see Jethro's reflection in the picture frame glass. How? He's down there. I don't think you can. Maybe you can. Maybe. I don't think so. Well, maybe. Yeah, you know what? I can. I can almost see him right there. Maybe. All right. Sean O'Brien says, I actually had my windows down and Kim fixes things in Buffdale Campo, rolled them up for me. I think I see some movement down there. Yeah. He's just over here barking at me, being kind of obnoxious. He didn't want to play with anything. He just wants to bark. Had a good time today, though, didn't you? We took an 80-mile ride and then back. All right. I'll wrap it up. Stick shift class in 2026. This whole thing about a class, how many people actually want to do it? I can't make a class for something people aren't asking for and don't want to do it, not for like 3 or 4 people. So we will see. I would like to do a stick car bracket. because that's something that everybody can just turn out for and just be in if you have a stick shift. And we actually, here, take a stick. He's got the tire windy. Just do stick shift callouts. I totally agree. This is what we need. We don't need to make another class for 3 people to be in. We need more callouts. That's what we need. 38 is exactly right. It's how No Name Nationals 2024 started. We were maybe 4 sticks. It's how it started. It started with 2022 No Name Nationals. Is how it started. Anyway, he's just too obnoxious and unruly, so I'm gonna call it an evening unless anyone has anything. One more time, I'm gonna post this for people who need it. Here's the contact info for Edelbrock Incentives. You need to register first before you use that. So you register first, and then they're going to know if you're registered, and then you contact Alex. You have never been this close when I've been on a live. But anyway, let's try to post that one more time. Exactly, Jay. Usually I have my time, but, you know, it's the way it is. So anyway, guys, I'm going to call it an evening. Jethro says goodbye. And we're going to call it a night. You guys have a great weekend, and we will see you again soon.